Okay, so let's start today's okay. Okay, let's start today's lecture on context models, context analysis. So, for mobile computing, we are using this term context a lot. We have used it in the previous classes, but we didn't really define what is context. So in this class, we'll try to define what do we mean by context. Right? So before we go into the details of mathematical definitions and models, uh, what do you mean by context? So this is the basics of context level computing. That is one of the most important areas in mobile computing. So what do you perceive as context? What is context? State of the environment. It can mean many different things. What do you mean by state of the environment? How can you write it down on a piece of paper so that what you mean by context, the other person has the same meaning? So surrounding what? What about surrounding? If you if you are writing a program and you want to input the context to that program, if you just say context is surroundings, will the program understand? Or if you say context is the state of the environment, will the program understand what is context? So how will you define context? That is actually an extremely difficult problem, how to define context. And it depends on different types of applications. Different applications might have different definitions of context. So what we will see is a series of definitions of context that we will go through, and we will narrow down to one or two definitions which are really important, which can be used. So context, if we just think about the term, context can mean many different things. So humans use context for adapting their behavior to the current situation. So context can be current situation. The current situation can include many different things. It can include time of the day, location, people, and so on. Now, what is the goal? Why do we need to define context? Because we need to make applications aware of the environmental changes. So we can say that whenever environment changes, there is a context change. Now, context, why do we need to define it? Because we need to program. We need to develop mobile applications that can understand context. If we want to make computers understand context, then we need to define it in such a way that you can input it as a parameter in a function. So that's the main goal. Now, how can context be used in applications, or what are the advantages if we use context? This we have already studied a little bit when we were talking about proactive application adaptation. Right. So, one simple answer is context can be used in proactive application adaptation. So, proactivity, you can set up environment according to user preferences or usage history, auto completion in forms, These are already applications that are existing, right? Reminders. So this doesn't really need to be proactive. These are this doesn't really need to be predictive. You don't need to predict, but you can also learn from it. Right? So at this point, I would like to make a distinction between two concepts. One is the smart mobile computing applications. That's what we have been talking about. Right? Proactive application adaptation is smart, and another is studious. Studious applications. So this term studious application was introduced maybe 5-10 years back, 5 to 10 years back, by a researcher. I was in the Qualcomm conference. Anybody heard about the Qualcomm conference? Pervasive Computing Conference. It's a top conference in our field. So there, the keynote speaker used this term studious mobile computing application. So what is the difference between smart and studious? We know the difference. We have talked about it. So studious is context aware, which means that the user they gives you the context, and the application learns that context and takes certain default default decisions, makes certain default decisions. Right? So there is no predictive nature. It just understands that there is a context change and reacts to the context. So any application that reacts to context changes is a studious application. So which is basically learning your preferences. So you are telling the application. It's not predicting what you want to do, but it is just learning what you did before and assuming that that is the same pattern that you will follow. So the same thing that she was telling last class when we were talking about smartness, she was telling that no, this application is not smart. Actually, that was right. The gas buddy application that we were talking about, which learned about, no, not gas buddy, the restaurant application, right? The restaurant application that we were talking about, which learned that you eat a certain type of food, so only show that certain type of restaurant. That actually is not smart. That falls in the category of studious application because it learned what you prefer. Now, an application which went inside your brain and predicted that what you might think of eating, that is smart because there is no such information in your history. You just got the new information based on some predictive algorithm. Right? So that is smart. Now, what we are doing here is we are talking about applications maybe 1 or 2 or 3 years back. So those are studious applications, context-aware applications. Now, context-aware applications can also be smart. But so if we think of it, then context-aware application is one general term, and in that there are two sub types of applications. One is the studious application, and another is the smart application. Now, what is studious, what is smart changes according to the technology that comes up. What is smart now will become studious in 5 years ahead of time, maybe 5 years in the future. So this perception of studious and smart keeps on changing over time. Say 10 years back, nobody could have thought about learning the history of a user and understanding what the user wants to do. So that was smart back then, but now it's not. Right? So the perception changes. Now, why you use context? Again, coming back to the same question, you can have studious applications, you can have smart applications, smart environments, for example, smart homes. You can have smart cities. All these things you can do if you have context. So, encoding context in a way that a program can understand is very important. So that's why we need to define. We need to define context. So let's define very early this problem was taken. When this might be 15, 20 years back, this problem was taken about context-aware application, and people were trying to define context. So one of the definition no, this is not a definition as of yet. This is an example. So what can be context? Context can be location, time of day, user emotional states, focus of attention, environment, and so on. So context can typically involve a few different parameters, but most importantly, it can have human factors and physical environment. So these two things are very important for context. So human factors can be user history, social environment, tasks, physical environment can be conditions, infrastructure, location. It can be light, pressure, acceleration, audio, temperature. All these things can be context. There are many different parameters. So if you think of it, what you can say is that he said an important thing. He said state of an environment. You said right. It's a state of an environment. Now, if you go to mathematics, state has a very specific meaning. Mathematically. So mathematically, what is the state? Do you know? Anybody knows what is the state? How would you define a state in mathematics? What do you mean by state? What? Yes, very good. Coordinates and environment. So what do you have to where do you have coordinates? You have coordinates in some 3D or 4D, 5D axis, right? What are the axes? Yeah, dimension. But what is that? What does that mean? What does each dimension mean? So what is it? That is called a variable. Right? That is a variate. So you can represent environment using variates. Variates are what? A vector, a set of vectors. And each element of a vector becomes one state variable. So for example, if you are only focused on the temperature of this room, then that temperature gives you the state of the room. Right? State of the room is the temperature. Whereas if you are interested in temperature and light, then the state is a two-dimensional vector. It's a two-dimensional state variable. Right? One is light, one is temperature. Now this light and temperature can vary over time. Right? They are varying over time, so you can consider that these are a continuous state variables. So light is a continuous state variable, temperature is another continuous state variable. It's varying over time. Now, when you have these two state variables and you take a snapshot over time, when t equals 10 seconds, you took a picture. Picture means you sampled some sensors, right? That particular value of the state variables at that time. So you'll have a specific value for light and specific value for temperature, right? That specific value becomes the state of the system, the state of the environment. So mathematically, if we talk about it, then you have to bring in state variables and do valuation of those state variables. So whenever you do valuation of those state variables, which means give a value to that variable, give a value to the light variable, give a value to the temperature variable. So you have a coordinate, as you said. Right? Coordinate means giving values to axes. So they will get a coordinate. That coordinate becomes the state of it. So mathematically you can call it like that. Now, what you can do is you can say context is a coordinate. Context is a coordinate which expresses the state of an environment. So that is one possible definition of context. But people did not arrive at it immediately. So there was a process of arriving at such a definition. So what was that process? So initially people were studying different types of context applications. So one of these applications is a ticket booking application, the railway ticket booking application. Now if you the idea is, if you consider this railway ticket booking application, when you are trying to develop a software for railway ticket booking application, there are many variables to take into account. First of all, you need the customer number, then you need the number of traveling people, then you need Okay, so then you have a number of traveling people. These are, and then you have several other inputs. So you have the location inputs, you have calendar information, and so on. So if you think of a ticket booking application, a person comes in and he says that I want to go from point A to point B. Right? So that's point A to point B is location, exact location. Now, I'm sure you have traveled with this, traveled on this metro rail here, right? I don't know about this one. I forgot whether it has zones or not. Does it have zones? Zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and so on. Your magic metro. Anybody know? Maybe it does not. That does not matter. So if you let's say you go to DC, like Washington DC, and there is this railway connection, metro rail. So there they have zones. Zone means they have divided the entire network into 4 or 5 zones. Zone 1, there are certain locations inside zone 1. Then if you go further from those locations, you go to zone 2. In zone 2, there are certain locations. You go further, zone 3, zone 4, and zone 5, so on. Right? Now, a customer can come in and buy a ticket and tell the booking application that I only want to be inside zone 1. As opposed to, I want to go from zone 1 to zone 3, or zone 1 to zone 5, and so on. And based on that, ticket pricing will be different. So if you consider that, then whenever a person comes to buy a ticket, customer number is important because they have to keep records and they have to give receipts. Right? Then number of traveling persons are important because now you need to charge accordingly. There are 2 people you will charge about. Right? So these 2 are very important numbers. Now, another important input is zone. Which zone you are traveling in. Now, inside one zone, the location is not accordingly important for charging. Right? You don't need to really tell that I want to go from point A to point B. If point A and B are within the zone 1, then you don't need to tell the system that I want to go from point A to point B. So that information, the location information, is not really required for developing this application. Right? The location information is not required. Then the calendar information, as in what date you are buying the ticket, that is also not important. You can just have a timestamp that you bought the ticket now. This is valid for 3 hours. Exactly what date you bought it does not matter. So those information, the location information, calendar information, that information is not really necessary. And if you have it, maybe it's good. You could have it, but they're not really necessary for charging purposes. Then there are some other inputs such as temperature, people nearby. Those are totally irrelevant. Temperature of the environment is totally irrelevant to booking application. Right? So people saw that okay, there are certain relevant information, certain irrelevant information, and certain optional inputs. So one definition of context can be definition by relevance. Right? Whatever information is relevant, that is context. So in this case, customer number and number of traveling persons are relevant information. So that becomes context. Location, calendar information, that is optional information. So they might or might not be part of context. Because if you think of another application where on certain dates you have discounts in your tickets, then calendar information is important. But if you don't have that module, then calendar information is not important. If you have only one zone, as in our Valley Metro case, there is no zone division, as you have one zone, then location information is not important. You don't worry that where the person is boarding, where is deboarding, you don't care. But if there are multiple zones, then location information is important because now you have to determine whether this person is within one zone or is moving from one zone to the other. Right? So these location and calendar information are not absolutely necessary, but they are optional. Now temperature and people nearby are totally irrelevant information. So you don't really consider that. The context information becomes information that is relevant, which means the customer number and number of traveling people, as well as location and calendar. Although those are optional, but those are relevant. Now, the problem was we are going to a smarter and smarter application. What if you one day thought of developing a module in this booking application that monitors crowd? It says that okay, this particular station has a lot of crowd. You might want to avoid stopping trains in that station, or maybe reduce the frequency of the trains in that station, or maybe increase because there is a lot of crowd. We increase the frequency of trains in that station. So then what you'll have is you'll have some trains that are stopping in that station, some other trains that are not stopping in that station. Right? So you need to let the customers know that don't board this train. Your time of departure has to be changed because the most recent train is not going to stop at that station. So then you need the information of people nearby, which says, using this information, you can say that how many customers are trying to get off at that particular station. So whether that is increasing the crowd, increasing the load on the train or not. So those information you might need if you want to implement more smarter applications. So that is the functionality that you have, which is not really necessary. You don't really have to do it for a booking application, but it's a functionality. It's an added functionality. Same for temperature. Same for temperature. So what you can do is you can maybe give travel guidances to customers. You say today it's a nice weather, you don't need cabins. With those kind of information you can give. So those kind of functionalities are not really necessary for a booking application, but they are functionalities that you might want to add. So then people came up with a definition which is a hybrid of the two. It's the functionality and relevance. Context is any information that is required by certain functions or is any relevant information. And so both becomes context information. So in that context information, you have some relevant information. Right? You have some relevant information and some auxiliary information. So auxiliary information means these are newer functionalities that you might want to implement someday, but they are not really necessary for a booking application. And we are slowly going closer to user experience. A booking application might not have those people nearby, location, temperature information. It does not mean. But if it has, it is a better user experience. That you want a booking application to let you know all these things. But for the purpose of going from point A to point B, you don't really need it. So context information can be defined by functionality and relevance also. So that means it is all the information that is relevant as well as some auxiliary information which might be used for different functionalities. Right? So once we have this definition of context, now this is a very vague definition of context. We will go to a more mathematical definition of context. But once we have that definition of context, then we can go ahead and study what are the different characteristics of context-aware applications. What are the components of context-aware? And how to build a context-aware, how to make it, how to implement it. what are the key objectives or key characteristics of complex RF? So let's look at that. So these are very broad features of complex RF applications, but these are essential features of complex RF. So contextual application can have a presentation component. Presentation component means it takes some information and displays it, or based on that information provides certain services to you. Right? Presentation of information and services to a user is one of the key components of contextual computing. What is an example? Presentation of information to a user. What application can you see? Example of contextual application that just does presentation of information. But careful, that is a contextual application. That is not really smart, not even studious, but that is contextual because it gets context information from the user, searches the surroundings, and shows some information, presents some information in the nice way. So that is a contextual application, which only does presentation. Then the next component is automatic execution of a service for a user. Automatic execution of a service. So, can you give an example of automated execution of a service for a user? Okay, battery saver. Okay, so he has an example that whenever battery goes below 15%, it asks the user do you want to shut off some services, or maybe automatically turns off the Wi-Fi or 4G, or automatically reduces the brightness, screen brightness. Right? So those are automatic execution of services for a user based on certain context. That is an example. Then another component of contextual application is tagging of context to information to support later retrieval. So you have some information and you tag it with some name. Why do you tag it? You might use it later for some other application. Can you give some example of that? Tagging of context information to support later retrieval. What does the
automatically takes the location later on when you are uploading the
yes. Yes. So the photos app, or what is the app called? Just the photos app.
nature going down.
Okay, so the photos app is better alternative of names. So for that photos app, what happens is that you take a photo and you can tag location. Geotagging. It was very popular 2-3 years back, or maybe even 5 years back. Geotagging. So wherever you go, you take a picture, you tag it. So what happens is you want Foursquare. Yes. So what you do is that you upload that image in Google, and whenever somebody types the name of a place, those pictures pop up. Right? How do they pop up? Because those pictures were previously tagged with location, and now when Google you're using Google to search for that same location, those pictures are already tagged, so Google pulls out those pictures and shows you. Then you can see nice pictures of any location. So that is one example of tagging of context to support later retrieval. So you tag the context to the information. So information here is the image and context is the location. So you tag it, you will search later retrieval. So that is another type of context application, or component of context application. And then finally, we have been talking about this wide adaptation. Adaptation of applications behavior and appearance. That we have already discussed, we don't need to discuss again. So these are the 4 components of context application. Any context application will have at least one of these. It doesn't need to have all 4. They can have at least one of them. And where did smartness come again? Smartness will have to deal with some form of adaptation. Right? Smartness only falls here. Smartness is not just tagging, not just automated execution, not just presentation. It has to have some form of adaptation. That's where smartness is. Everything else is to be. So in the subsequent slides, I have some examples of what is presentation, what is execution, tagging, and so on. This more we don't need to go over again. Now, once these are the different types of applications we have established, these are the different types of context-aware applications. Then we talk about what are the challenges. Is it straightforward implementing context-aware application? Is it very easy? Just develop a mobile app? Or is there something else? So it turns out that context-aware applications, making them or writing context-aware applications, implementing them is not that easy. There are several complicating factors. First of all, context information is obtained from sensors. Right? And these sensors are heterogeneous. So it can be device sensors, some actual device that you have installed, or it can be manual input. That is also a type of sensor, the human sensor. Right? So context information differs from traditional information sources in the following property. Context is gathered from heterogeneous sources. It can be sensors gathering context information, it can be humans gathering context information. The same sensors can be of different types. For example, capturing images, that is one information, one type of context information. Right? That can be taken from different types of cameras, different resolutions, right? Different color schemes. Then also think about location information. Coordinates. Coordinates can be obtained from 3 different places. We have already seen. And all 3 have different characteristics. GPS, cellular, cell towers, and Wi-Fi. So they have many different characteristics, heterogeneous sources. So you have to develop an application that can take location information from any of these and still work fine. That's a difficult task. You do not have uniformity in the data format, you do not have uniformity in data accuracy, right? Fidelity, agility, all those things we have learned. You do not have uniform fidelity, you do not have uniform agility, but still your application has to perform, has to maintain user experience. That in itself is a very difficult task. The first part. The first part itself is an extremely difficult task. Right? Then the other thing that is problematic is context is dynamic. It's changing very fast because we are moving very fast. We are moving extremely fast, and that's why context is dynamic. So your application has to be responsive to this fast changing context, and often that becomes a problem. If you take up the brain project that we discussed in last class, if any of groups take up any project related to the brain, you will see brain context changes within the matter of milliseconds. Okay. So you have brain data which is 500 hertz per second, and so that means you have 500 data samples every second, and a person thinks in the order of 300 milliseconds. So any computation that you do has to give its result within 300 milliseconds after you receive the data. So you receive the data, and within 300 milliseconds you have to give the result. Whatever computation you do, whatever communication you do, does not matter. Right? So the context is very dynamic, and you have to match the dynamics of the context. The mobile application. That is a very difficult task. Then finally, context is error prone. We have seen already that different modalities give us different accuracies of location. So your application cannot be error prone. The underlying context might be approved, but your application should not. So your application should be model how to develop such applications. Very difficult task. So those things are things that exacerbate the problem. Now, apart from the context information, there are other problems. So context-aware application has to be scalable, and they have to be robust. So what is scalability? What is robustness? So scalable means the application should be able to cope with a multitude of different sensors and users. Not your application is not going to be used by a single user. It might be used by 50 different users or maybe 100,000 different users. So whatever applications you run has to be scalable, which means that it has to be very easy to add a user to your application. And adding a user to your application should not result in increase in performance, but decrease in user experience. These two factors are very important. Adding a user should be very easy. You have to do minimal change to your application to add a user. And on adding a user, your application's user experience should not be hampered. Take an example of machine learning systems, right? Gesture recognition. Let's say you are doing sign language recognition. You have an application that does sign language recognition. Now, sign language recognition typically requires universal training as well as individual training. Which means when you do gestures, you have to compare it with all other people. So you have a database and you have 10 people in the database. You have to compare the actions with all other people. That is universal training. Now imagine that you add one person comes in and he does this sign and he has a very weird way of doing this sign. It does not match to any of the other people's data. So you always get 0% accuracy. They don't know what that person is doing. So what you have to do is take that data of that person and put it into the database and retrain the machine. Right? Now if you do that, then the next time the person does the gesture, you might have better accuracy because they have already included that person in training. Now the training time, the time taken to train a machine is directly proportional to the number of users in the database. So as you are adding people, your execution time is getting slower and slower and slower. So which means that the response time of the application is getting slower as you are adding more people. So such a system is not scalable. If you add more users, if your response time becomes slower and slower, that system is not scalable. So you should avoid making or developing such kind of applications. So one very important property of context-aware application is scalability. If you add users, your user experience should not be done. That's one. The other thing is robustness. Robustness means stability and reliability of results. Ability to adapt to new situations, resistance to frequently changing environment, and to component failure and to disturbing factors like noise. So there's a lot of terms. But what it means by robustness is that you went to the lab, to let's say impact lab, and you developed an application in a lab setting. You did controlled studies to see that that application works under certain controlled parameters. Now you deploy it in practice. If you deploy it in practice, those controlled parameters that you could control in the lab setting are not controlled anymore. They will change. For example, lighting inside Impact lab, you can control it. When you can dim it, you can make it brighter. But when you go and deploy it in practice, the lighting varies. So if you have a image or face recognition algorithm from an image, you have to consider different lighting characteristics. That particular algorithm should work on different lighting characteristics. So that means if the application is not affected by different lighting characteristics, then that means that the application is robust. And if it is affected by different lighting characteristics, then that means the application is not robust. So that is the basic meaning of robustness. design something in control settings. The moment you deploy in practice, those control settings go out of the window. Your application should work fine. That is robustness. So scalability and robustness are very important factors for content server application. So now, given these changes, these problematic factors, how do you go about designing content server applications? So these are some very high level guidelines. Does not mean that following these will definitely lead you to a good design. But if you follow this and something more, then it might help you to do that. But if you at least think about these things, then it might lead you to the right direction. Right? So, how to build a complex server application? So there are several design processes of complex server application. First process is specification. So if you have some idea about software engineering, you know that first step always is specification. Specify the requirements. The same for context server application as well. But then it's a little different. So specification here involves what context server behavior should be implemented, which contexts are required for that purpose. So you first say that what is the context server behavior that you want to implement, and which context is required for this purpose. What are the different contexts that you need? Do you need temperature? Do you need some signals from the human body, or what? Now, once you have determined that, you have to think about how are you going to acquire that context. So acquisition. So which means that you have to answer the question: which sensors can be used to retrieve this content? What are the sensors that can be used? Right? Now, once you have understood these two things, specification and acquisition, then you talk about delivery and reception. So, which means how is the context represented, managed, and exchanged? This is the most important part of any context server application, and this is where we will spend some time in this class. Okay. So, how is the context represented and managed and exchanged? So, brings us back to the question that once you have defined context, how do you let a program know, or how do you input it to a program? That is one part of it. How do you input it to a program? Another part of the question is, even before you are building a context server application, you need to test it out. So test it out means you need to see in pen and paper, or at least think about it and reason that whether this context server application is going to work or not. For example, let's say you are developing a new, or let's say that gas body application, which predicts in the next few minutes where will you go. Instead of asking for the user the location, it predicts in the next 5 minutes where will you be. So it has to have some reasoning about the prediction. How does it predict? It has to have some model, some mathematical model, right, of prediction. You cannot just assume that in the next 5 minutes you will be at location X. There has to be some model. So you have to use that model and do simulations on your context server application. And in simulations, you need to show me that if I build the context server application following whatever algorithms I have in mind, then it is an effective application, which means the accuracy of predicting where that person will be in the next 5 minutes is pretty high. And if it is pretty high, I can build a lot of good applications. So you need to show me, even before building that application, you need to do some mathematical analysis on your idea and show me that yes, this works. That's why you need context models. Context models are mathematical representation of context. And using those representations, you can run simulations, you can run design algorithms, optimizations, and all those. context models is required. Then, once you have these models, how will these models be used? So how will this model be used in your application? So who is going to evaluate this model and give you a result? Right? And at what step, which thread is going to implement this model? And at what points in time will this, or at what frequency will this thread execute this model and give you new results? Or how are you going to use the result of this context model in your application? That is access mechanisms. They have to see how are you going to access the results of this model. Then the last component of delivery and reception is context storage and management. Which means once the model has given you a result, how do you store it and how do you transfer it to different components in your application? How do you store it? Is one of the example question is how frequently do you run the context model? Which means that you store this context information somewhere. How long do you store it for? Do you store it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes? If you store it for 10 minutes, then that means that you need to run the context model every 10 minutes. How do you make such a decision? One of the factors that affect that decision is that if I run the context model every 10 minutes, will it cost a lot of power? Will it cost a lot of time? Those are important factors that tell me how frequently can I run a context model and how do I need to store this context information. Another important factor of storing this context information is that you can use that stored context information in another different type of model. It's the prediction. Right? Based on context history, it predicts the future context. So then the question is, how much of a history do you need to store? That can be again affected by factors such as what is the storage capacity of your device, or given the algorithm that predicts future context based on usage history, how long does it take for an algorithm to do that? Does it increase with the amount of history? If I increase the history, will the algorithm take more time? Or how much more time will it take? You cannot use infinite amount of history. It will take infinite amount of time. So those are certain factors that affect this context storage and management. Then finally the last step is action, which means that once you have detected a context change, what do you do? What adaptation do you take? Right? That is another factor. So these are the several different steps for context aware application. Now what I want you to do is when you are choosing your project, or not choosing, when you are done with your project and you are writing a report on your project, right? You have to write a report, final report. Then whatever 20 tasks that you did, you have to identify which category does this task fall in. Which category of this context server application flow does your task fall in? So that is one way of structuring your report. So you can have a section of delivery on specification and write that okay, these tasks are specification and this is how I did it. Then acquisition, these are the acquisition tasks, this is how we did it. Delivery, reception, action, and so on. So that is one way of structuring your final report, and that is long way. Now let's go into some of and the rest of the slides here. They talk about context models, context sources. Let's go a little bit into this. So context sources there can be two different sources of context. One is the sense context, and the other is the derived context. So sense context means what you use actual physical sensor and the data becomes the context. Whatever data you obtain. So let's say if you have a temperature sensor, then a temperature data becomes context. So every second depending upon the sampling rate of the sensor, every new sample is a new context. Right? So that is sense context. The other type of context is inferred or derived context. So let's say you have a logic, and if the temperature is above 35 degrees C, then that is a thermal runaway context. It's too hot for your system to operate. So that context becomes an inferred context. So when you apply some intelligent decision algorithm on your sense data, that the result of that decision algorithm becomes inferred context. So these are two different types of context. So sensed context can be physical sensors or virtual sensors. Inferred context are logical sensors. Right? One of the inferred context can be running, walking, or sitting. That is your assignment 2, no, assignment 3. In assignment 3, based on the accelerometer data that you collect, in assignment 2, you have to classify whether the person was running, or was sitting, or walking. Right? So those are inferred context. So that is logical sensors. Those are logical sensors. These are different context sources. Now you also have to talk about context models. What are the different models that exist? Right? So let's talk a little bit about context models. Context models are a way of representing the context data, right? So that it can be read by a machine. There are many different types of context models. We will talk about very briefly and very fast talk about these models. These are pretty old models, so we don't really need to go in depth of this. But we'll consider one of these models, right, and talk about that in more detail. Because that model is currently being used a lot in mobile computing applications. So let's see different models. So key value model is one. So which means this is the simplest model of context. So you have certain state variables, right? So you have those state variables such as room and ID, and you give some values to those state variables. So this is a context. In this example, what you are trying to achieve is that you are trying to give an ID to a particular student who is in room 812. So room 812, student number 42. So that's a context information. And what you do is you just have a key value pair, like a database table. Right? Like you have in the table, you have a key and then you have a value. So that is one way. The other way is a Markov scheme model, which is a hierarchically structured model. It's kind of like a XML representation. Right? So you have location, which is a higher order node, and inside that location you have two lower order nodes, the room and ID. That is another way. So what you can do is here any XML parser that can be used. That is one way of using the context model. Another way is ontology based model. It's a graphical representation. So you can also use the graph to represent model, context. So what is this graph? Looks complex, but it is very easy. So depending upon what keys you have a node. So for example, you have a room node, right? Location room. That is one node. Then you have a room number node, 812, and an ID node, right? So whichever are associated with each other. So ID is associated with the number. You have an add like this. So this you don't really need to go in depth. This is one way of representing context. Then there is the object-based model that is similar to Java. So you have location class, and inside the location class there are three parameters: the room, which is a number 812, the ID, which is another number, and the confidence, which is 80%, which means that this person is in the room 812 in ID, which may be seat number 44, with the confidence of 80%. So this is the object-based model. So if you have this object-based model, then your program can be Any Java program can be. Anybody knows functional programming? Has experience with functional programming? But yes, functional language. Do you have experience with it?
Yeah, I used to program.
Yes, so this is another type of programming language which uses function. Right? So everything is a function. So you can have such a representation of complex as well. So instead of having key value pairs, what you can have is you can have a function called located at. You can have a function called located at, and it has parameters 44, 81, and 80%. So whenever you use this function, you get either 1 or 0. Right? So that is a functional programming way of representing context. So these are all models that have been used in previous papers that talk about contextual applications. Now there is, so now let's come to another definition of context. Don't take your time. Let's discuss that in the next class. We'll continue.